Wherever there is a war, the highest price is paid by civilians.
With the war raging in eastern Ukraine, there is a divide between the war aims declared by the Russian High Command in Moscow and the reality of the war on the ground. Amna Navaz has that.
Open it. Come on.
A great bass player is known to be lighthearted, comical, even-tempered, and dependable. Not only are these traits important to being a great bassist, but these traits make up a great person as well. I can say with great confidence that you will use these same qualities to find success in whatever you choose to pursue in life. Thank you for always laying it down and making sure that nothing is left to chance. It is my honor and privilege to present this year's Legacy Award to Nicholas Toyle.
Oh, I love it.
I'm glad that he chose a college I think that is going to benefit him well into his future.
The school's got a great legacy, a great campus.
The Penn State name will definitely serve him well.
There's really no bad features that I can see of him going to Penn State.
When I first learned I was accepted into Penn State, I didn't really feel anything. A part of me was feeling like, oh, I wish I didn't get in, just so there would be an excuse for me to follow a different course and maybe go to another school that fits my interests more. I think the thing I dislike the most about Penn State is just the lack of art on campus. It is a very technical and business-centric school.
Even though he is planning to live at home, at least in the beginning, and commute, I think he'll spend more time on campus.
If he had decided to go away, I would have supported him. I'm glad that he's commuting because I like having him around.
You know, I'd miss him if he wasn't here. He can live with me the rest of his life for all I care. You know, I'm basically raised Italian, and you know, in the Italian culture, it's okay for the sons to live at home.
Wait, what the f is he listening to?
My dad showed me Genesis, which is a progressive rock band, and I was like really into it. And then when he showed me Rush, that gave me inspiration to play the drums.
I think my dad's been the biggest influence when it comes to music because I probably wouldn't be doing any of it if he wasn't into it. I started taking guitar lessons when I was about 10.
The fondest memories are our connection with music, you know, as he evolved. I have a video, the three of us were playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, and they were taking lessons at some music school, and they were doing a show, and they were going to play Smells Like Teen Spirit. I said, well, I know that bass line. I said, why don't we jam it out? Set up the camera, not expecting anything, and we nailed that song on the first take. It just mixed perfectly like it was a record.
I think the best thing about music is that it's really a language. It transcends barriers. It's just something that can be understood by all people. And there is so much of it. There is so much music out there that it's just I think it's the best medium to express yourself, to make something original.
Unfortunately, our culture does not compensate artists and musicians as much as it should.
It's something I'm gonna pursue on the side of working towards an actual career. Maybe with some luck, I can scrap the computer science gig and do what I really love.
Hey, buddy.
I think parents were less involved with kids. I'm your father, you know, I provide the meals and, you know, maybe I'll take you to the movies every now and then, but I'm doing my thing over here. You know, now we're very involved with the kids. We're like a tight unit, and I didn't have that as a kid.
We always talk, we always share our opinions. Especially with my mom and dad, I can be myself. I don't have to be anyone else, like different.
I've always viewed my dad as like a brother. He's my second brother.
He works a lot and he's stressed out.
I've always been mama's boy. I still am. And I think just when I was younger, the majority of the time I'd spend outside of school was with my mom.
I always talk to her when I have an issue. If you need her, she's always there.
She's always just been there with an open ear. I think that's one of my favorite things about my mom. It's just her ability to listen and her ability to understand.
Same thing with my dad. Like, I don't remember a time where he ever like let me down.
He's always challenged me. He'd be like, "Oh, that's great, but what can you do to make it better?"
Banana into a peach. Ready?
Yeah.
Ain't that a peach?
As he ages, he loses his ability to be open to new ideas. Where he needs to improve is just his ability to understand and listen from another perspective other than his own.
I would say I'm definitely different from my dad, mainly because of the generational gap, and that also explains why my father's different from his father, and how there's always a big contrast between those two people in my life.
Hello, Cameron. Now, Jason will be watching this many years from now, so say something to commemorate the moment.
Jason, you were a doll baby today.
I probably won't be around when
Christmas Eve, we're filming, okay? Grandpa is changing Jason, and Nick says, "All right, Grandpa, say something so that when Jason sees this later, he can, you know, what words of advice do you have?" And he's changing the baby. He's going, "Well, later when you look at this, I probably won't be around. When you do things in life, I'll be in the hereafter." We're going, "Oh, Merry Christmas."
Say something to Jason that he'd want to hear years from now from his grandfather.
If it's still late when we leave, which it probably won't be, or I'll do it
still
tomorrow.
December 2002. You are 3.5 months old almost. Hope I'm around for you, kid.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
I'll probably be dead by the time you're grown up.
That's right.
My dad was a lot different than I am, and he was you know, he had a hard life. He did, and it affected our relationship. He grew up during the Depression. He got drafted in the war. He lost his brother in the war, and he came back a different person. I read an essay that he wrote when he went to college about how he had to kill a man, and he didn't want to do it, and but he had to do it to save his own life, and he sees that guy's face every day, and it haunts him. So he was different, you know, and I'm much different than my dad. I think I learned a lot from my dad, but a lot of it I learned like what not to do. So he did teach me. A lot of that's passed on to Nick. He was a good man in a lot of senses, you know. So It's an interesting relationship we had, and it all ended good at the end.
I think my biggest fear is losing my parents, especially at this stage in my life when I'm about to begin the transition from childhood to adulthood. Because I still lean on my parents greatly. My mom still does pretty much everything for me. And I wouldn't say I'm as grown as probably most of the people my age. And I think just to lose one of them would probably set me off course a great deal. With staying at home while being at Penn State, I'm going to be holding on to just a lot of that warmth I had when I was younger. I'm told that some of that needs to be pushed behind, but I don't think childhood should be left in the dust when you're moving forward. It should just always be something you come back to, something that you lean on.
You know, he was always such a happy baby. He always woke up happy from a nap. Jason would be down here playing, and Nicky would come down from his nap, and for some reason he thought every other child's name was Nicky. So he would come down and he would look at Jason and say, "Hi, Nicky."
Whoa. Whoa.
When I was younger, he would always bat me off when he was playing with his cars, and we didn't really, I guess, interact in a positive way until we were a little bit older.
I know that I used to be like kind of jealous of him, and I wasn't really close with him until I was 4.
When I was homeschooled with Jason, I think that's where our bond grew the strongest. At the time, we really didn't have any friends, so we really only had each other, and most of my fun from that time just comes from me and Jason. When I compared myself to my other friends with brothers that are around the same age, I noticed that me and Jason never fight. We've always understood each other.
Once his older brother realized that he was a playmate, he truly was everything to Jason. And as a parent, there's nothing that you could hope for more than to have 2 children who get along and care about each other and are there for each other. Because your hope is, once you're gone, that your children are not isolated, that they have family, that they have someone who still cares about them.
Differences between my childhood and my son's, astronomically different. Astronomically different.
There are things that kids have access to that we did not have access to when we were growing up.
The pressures that kids today have to go through really wasn't there. You know, we were kind of in our own little kid world.
There were just not as many drugs and not as many dangers that kids face today that we would have faced back then. Parents see that and they are afraid for their kids. They want to protect them and put them in a bubble. And it's very easy to try to do that, but you have to try not to.
Just to do something good, to live a virtuous life, to live a meaningful life, you know, to not harm anyone. And that when you leave this earth, the earth was better having you than not having you. Simple as that.
That really is what makes life worth living. Just being happy and looking at life the way a child does look at life, just with wonder and excitement and fun and joy. And sometimes as adults, we forget that.
I think you have to just take the perspective of, do you like where you are now? If you're happy where you are now, then don't question how you got there. The sailor gets good navigating rough waters, not calm waters. You know, so we kind of want to go back and make it perfect. No. Put yourself on a path. Have a big picture. You know, live for today and live for tomorrow. Kind of balance, have that healthy balance where, you know, you're living for the moment, but yet you're still working towards a goal to go somewhere. And that goal has to be meaningful, you know, and has to be fruitful.
A lot of the good parts of my life are going to be left behind moving forward, but new good parts are going to come up. And my life's going to change, but maybe it's going to be for the better. I know that your childhood isn't something that you can exactly go back to, but something that needs to be carried with you. So once I'm graduated from Penn State, I hope I can look back on my years in college and feel the same way about them as I feel now about my childhood. When I go on to new stages of life, I want my parents to be there. They're probably one of my biggest sources of happiness. It's just knowing they're there and knowing I can fall back on them and believe in them.
I think one of the best things about having a family or even being a parent is just knowing that you are passing on part of your legacy. When you're gone, there is someone who has your traits, has your memories, and can pass those on. So you never really die.